I first wanted to address something in the current scheme of things, Mick, because I know you still watch the show today.
Yep.
And I know you're particularly fond of a talent, Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Very talented cat, myself as well. Love what he does inside the squared circle. He's kind of been put on the shelf right now. He had a neck injury, had some surgery, and word on the street is he's got another surgery coming up. I guess he's got some issues with his arm or whatever. I'm not a doctor, don't know the bottom line on it. But, man, your thoughts on that guy? He's worked his ass off to get to this point, a smaller guy, you know, with a hell of a damn. He's one of the best workers in the business when he's healthy and now on the sidelines. And he just came in to good money at top guy status. You know anything about his condition? What are your thoughts? Because you were very vocal when they were kind of had him on the – they were teeter-tottering. What do we do with this guy? Is he over on the internet or is he over? And I was thinking the kid's over. You were too. So you were behind the Daniel Bryan cause. I put the belt on him at Mania. Let's go.
And I don't know for a fact that my opinion, changed anybody else's, but I know they were reading everything that I wrote. That was the one time, and we were talking about last week, I didn't complain about every paycheck. It was a rarity. It was regular enough that they knew that there would be a phone call if I got something I thought was light. I mean, especially when, I was a paid ambassador, and by and large, I did enjoy the product. Like if I wrote a post, the famous tweet was, following the Royal Rumble, I don't even remember writing it. I know it's mine. I don't remember what I was thinking when I sent out, does at WWE hate its own fans? I've never been so disgusted after a PPV. And apparently I was voicing what was on a lot of people's minds because my son said, Dad, you know how many retweets you got? Not to turn this into a tech fest, but go ahead. The most I'd ever gotten was when the King had the heart attack on live TV, and I'd sent out a very earnest prayer, and I got about 2,500 retweets. And I thought that was probably in the territory. And he goes, no, 16,000. Wow. I went up, I think, to 25,000. Like I was in Justin Bieber territory all of a sudden. Because I was echoing what was on a lot of people's minds, and probably on the minds of a lot of the guys, too, who, weren't in a position to say anything. And I also, I reached out to the three guys that I thought had been most grievously harmed that night, and that was Ziggler, Punk, and Daniel. I'm a glass half full guy. So the glass half full is that my kids looked on in amazement as these top guys in the company got back to me within minutes, and they're like, Dad, why do they respond so quickly to you? And I said, because I'm Mick fucking Foley. Boom! You see what I did there? Stole it, man.
Inside joke between me and Mick. God damn it, kid. Last week he was Cactus fucking Jack. This week is Mick fucking Foley.
But I love the product. Right.
I know. Hey, but see, here's the thing. My time has come and gone. Yours has too.
Yeah.
But I still reserve the right to voice my opinion and be passionate about the product because I care about today's guys and gals, and I care about the system. So I'm not bitter at all, but I am passionate, and I still love the business. So I want to voice my concerns. I just don't, and you don't. We don't want to come off as craggy, bitter, just mad at the world. Yeah, because we're not. No. The glass is half full. Opinion.
Even I'm going through a strained period with WWE, and I'm seriously looking at it like this is a moment. This is
how strained is it? What's strained?
Pretty strained enough so that even when I was in Boston and offered to do pre or post show and 10 minutes away, do my own show which had been booked months earlier. They didn't get back. Mark Carrano said I'll check and see. They didn't get back to me. And so I just thought, let's take some time away. Maybe there'll be a WrestleMania that'll pass. But I don't in any way see, the door being shut. Back when I thought it was shut, I got a call from Vince. We hadn't talked in a year and a half, and he said, I know you don't like me, but I know you love this company. And I called him back, and I got that voice. And you can't help but laugh. And the first thing I said was, I like you, and I know there's going to come another call like that. I don't in any way think WWE is my home, and I'm away for a little while. I'll go back, but in the meantime, what I say, I have it on good authority that what I say is listened to, is measured out. That night in question, I didn't have Daniel's cell, so I conveniently reached out to Bree. You know, it's funny because
so you had Bree's cell, but not Daniel's. That makes total sense. It's his wife.
But she's a great.
When you can pop Mick Foley, you can pop anybody.
I should just ask her for Daniel's number. You know, I guess I could.
See what he did, folks? The kid stole it.
But the Daniel Bryan Kane thing, hug it out, began as a rib on Daniel because he's not a hugger. You know, like even you and I, we bro it out a little bit. But you'll see Daniel, and specifically, like the divas will go up and extend a hand. And I asked him, and he goes, I don't hug. And then I'm watching TV a couple months later, and he's doing this thing that's based around two guys hugging each other. Like, it's a rib, you know.
Right.
It's a rib on Daniel that ended up being big money and catapulted him, put another just great year under Kane's belt. And so I said to Bree, I said, I know Daniel's not a hugger, but if I was here, I told her I'm going to reach out, to the three people, Hunter, Stephanie, Vince, and tell them how wrong this whole thing is. And then I texted her back and I said, I just got on a cell phone, didn't really know the ins and outs of it, didn't know copying and pasting. And I said, I know Daniel's not a hugger, but tell him if I was there, I'd give him a big hug and tell him how messed up this whole thing is. And then I handed the phone to my son to try to do the copying and pasting. He goes, Dad, you just sent that to Vince McMahon. And I hadn't texted Vince in about a year. So my first text to Vince was, I'd give Daniel Bryan a hug. To tell him. And my second text was, oops.
Kidding me.
No, I swear to you.
Jesus Christ.
I may even, while we talk, I'll see if I still have that on the Foley
You're a
record.
moron.
And I did.
Boy, you told him.
Oh boy, yeah. I did reach out to Hunter, and I reached out to Stephanie. Hunter got back to me and he said, Mick, as an author, you should know not to judge a book, until the story's over. Yeah. And the funny thing about Stephanie, and I've known Stephanie, since she was a teenager in college.
Yeah, when we first got there, you got there. Yeah.
She told me the story of how we first met. It was the night of the cell. And now it can be told because Pat Patterson has revealed it on Legends House. Pat had a longtime partner who passed away that night. And Stephanie remembers being, I think, 19 or 20 years old. This is after my cell match. Francoise kind of patched me together. I hobble over before the world's most awkward run-in on your match.
Let me break into this story. I wanted to get into this later. We'll get into it right now. Dude, I got so much respect for you. You went through that Hell in a Cell match. Yourself and The Undertaker was a semi-main. It was me and Kane in the main event in the first blood match. Now, 4 days earlier, I had wrestled you at the Houston Summit. We were on top. Place was sold out.
Sold out.
I couldn't stop shaking. I got whatever you call it, chills. They took me to the hospital. I had a staph infection. My mom and dad had drove 100 miles from Edna, Texas to watch me wrestle your ass that night. Thank God I was lucky enough to go over. And these days, as we speak now, Joel Osteen's packing them in every Sunday night doing his ministry gimmick over there. But anyway, you and me working on top. I spent 3 days at Herman Hospital. IVs, getting antibiotics put into my system. My elbow was swollen up. Badass staph infection. Had to wrestle you in a pay-per-view. Hell in a Cell. First blood match. And, man, you and Undertaker went out there and just ripped it up. And a great story, great bumps. Just, y'all stole the show from us.
Yeah,
you can't follow that. But my point is, after all the devastation you had sustained in that match, here you come. And I always tell his people, I say, here comes that stupid-ass Jack running out because you got to take a stunner. And I meant that with respect.
Yeah.
I appreciate Here comes Jack running out there, kind of sideways like John Wayne, like a crab. And all the stuff, dude, those bumps you took, that one where you almost drove your head in the mat, had you turned your shoulder, it was just a fluke that you didn't get killed. But here you come after all that bullshit that you had just went through, all those bumps, the thumbtacks, to take a stunner from my ass for me to feed into the chair to get the color from a taker. But I'll never forget that. Now, y'all stole the show, hands down, more power to you. But I just respected the shit out of you for running down and taking a stunner. Story.
I'm pretty sure they went to you and got, Steve, given what Mick's been through, we're not going to send him back. I think everyone would have been understanding of that. But
you're so right, but we didn't think like that back then.
No, and we didn't.